Yo, what is going on, guys? It's Crimson. Today I'm bringing you guys some more Infinite Warfare. This time I'm bringing you guys yet another class setup video. This time it is going to be on one of the most underrated weapons within all of Infinite Warfare, and this time it is going to be on the raw LMG. Now, the reason why I think it's underrated and maybe even overlooked is because obviously it's in the same weapon class as the Mammoth, or the Mauler Mammoth is what I should say, which is basically an epic variant which basically allows you to two-shot any enemy from any type of distance. But the raw LMG, as you guys will see in these gameplays, I was absolutely destroying. The gameplays themselves are just a couple of Juggernaut medals. I think the first one is a 40 KD Juggernaut medal with the raw obviously on Genesis, and then the other one is also a Juggernaut medal on Frost, which you guys will see as well. So I think that this weapon overall is extremely underrated and it's maybe even overpowered. So the class setup I will get into now, it will be shown on screen. I do believe I'm using a pretty basic attachment setup. I do believe I was using red dot or reflex, whatever it's called in this game, and then I'm using suppressor, grip, and then stock, and that's a pretty basic attachment setup. As I was saying, normally on an energy weapon, seeing as this is an energy weapon, you would think maybe you would want to use particle amp or maybe even fusion mag, but I do believe what particle amp allows you to do is it extends your stopping power range, and I think that that's really not necessary on this weapon at all, just because this weapon already has really great stopping power. It's honestly very powerful, and I'm even using a suppressor in these gameplays, you guys can see, and I do believe a suppressor in pretty much all of the Call of Duties has always basically decreased damage range just slightly, but not very much. But in this gameplay, you guys will see that I'm still destroying regardless of the suppressor, and overall I don't think that fusion mag or particle amp is very necessary. Fusion mag allows you to basically regenerate ammo, but there is an actual rare variant that I have with this weapon that I wasn't actually using within these gameplays, just because in this gameplay I was actually using a Mark II variant, which basically earns you or gives you 15% extra XP per kill, which is very useful just because I'm trying to level up right now. But there is another variant which will be shown on screen. I don't totally remember the name of it, but it already comes with increased ammo, which on an LMG helps a lot, just because the sort of point of an LMG is to not have to reload so much, so the fact that you're getting increased ammo helps a ton. And then you also do get another stability or sort of attribute to that weapon, which allows you to basically regenerate your magazine completely for every headshot you earn, which is pretty overpowered if you think about it, just because that means that you basically don't even need to run scavenger already with that rare variant, I do believe it is. So the raw overall, especially with that variant, is extremely powerful if you think about it. So that's why I really like running this weapon, and I would say that it's probably one of the top 5 or maybe even top 10 best weapons, at least when you're playing properly with this weapon, just because of course it is an LMG. It doesn't have the strongest fire rate or the greatest fire rate. I do believe it's pretty slow overall, but that's what makes it so powerful. If you've ever noticed that weapons with lower fire rates or slower fire rates usually have much more damage and sort of they're overall more powerful, and you guys will see that in these gameplays I'm even killing guys up close. I can even battle them when they're using submachine guns and things of the sort, and that's what I really like about this thing, just because of the fact that it kind of has an advantage at a distance, and then also it has an advantage up close as well. So it kind of sort of in a way acts like a submachine gun, which seems very weird, especially for an LMG that has a slow fire rate. But if you guys use this weapon for yourself, you guys would see that it's actually very powerful overall. And I actually really like the reflex sight on it as well, just because of the fact that, I don't know what it is, usually I've always used ELO sight if it's an option to use in pretty much every Call of Duty, but for some reason I have some sort of weird OCD on certain weapons and I like using reflex instead of ELO, and reflex on the raw seems to work wonders. You guys will see in these gameplays that my accuracy was really on point, so that's why I was using reflex sight, and you guys can really put whatever reticle you would like on the reflex sight. But overall I think that this weapon is absolutely a beast. It definitely can destroy, and once again be sure to use the class setup just because of the fact that it can be very, very useful. I haven't experimented without grip or without stock. I know stock has always not really ever been necessary ever since the introduction or introducing to the jetpacks and all of that, just because of the fact that you already have so much mobility, but maybe grip may or may not be necessary. I'm not entirely sure. If you really wanted to, you could add fusion mag on there and particle amp. But overall, I still think that this class setup has already done a lot of work for me. This is the only actual class setup that I've basically experimented with the raw, and it still does a lot of work. As I was saying earlier in the video, it's a really basic sort of normal attachment setup, but it seems to put in a lot of work is what I should say, so that's why I really like using it. And then as for my perks, I do believe I was running Ghost, Dexterity, and then Scavenger, and as I was saying earlier, Scavenger in a way isn't even necessary, so if you wanted to take that off, you could probably replace it with something like Hardline or Dead Silence or something of the sort. I think hardline would be very beneficial in a game mode like TDM when you're using this weapon, so that's why scavenger, as I was saying, may not be necessary. And I'm not even using anything like extended mags or fast mags. You can't actually use any of those attachments on this weapon, but overall it's really not necessary when you have dexterity because it already reloads pretty quickly. As you guys can see in this video, I'm reloading relatively fast every time I run out of ammo, and I'm pretty sure it's even like that without dexterity as well. So maybe even if you wanted to, you could take dexterity off and maybe replace it with overclock and run, you know, a really powerful combat rig like reactive armor or active camo or something of the sort. So that's basically going to be it for the video overall. I thought that this was a pretty solid weapon to sort of cover just because I haven't really seen anyone talk about it. Even most of the guys who do play Infinite Warfare on YouTube haven't really talked about this weapon very much. It hasn't really been covered very much, and I decided to come out with a class setup video. So once again, be sure to try out this class setup. It definitely does destroy overall. So that's basically going to do it for the video. I hope you guys did enjoy. If you guys did, be sure to leave a like, and I am out.
Middle of the map, on the bulldozer. Inside now. Oh no, by bulldozer. No, that wasn't my shit. You're welcome. Yeah, use my rewind too. There you go.